idea originated actually with our gallery director Phil Marquez and Joan herself, who were interested in pulling together a show that would show various interpretations of the same subject that would be really an eye-opener for our students, the art community, art patrons, and collectors.
And because that's what's really going on here. This is not so much a show about Joan Quinn as it is about how that one subject, Joan, has been interpreted by so many notable artists. Do I have this correct?
Absolutely correct, and I think that that is what makes the show so interesting. I think that many people might think that a show that is only on one subject would be potentially less interesting, where in fact it becomes more interesting when you have scores and scores and scores of various interpretations of the same subject.
And the idea is you don't want it to be egocentric. You want the art department to come in from the school and see that Joan Quinn is a vase, or Joan Quinn is a landscape. Let's see how people can interpret it.
How many people have had this many portraits done by so many different artists? And now we're here at this unbelievable exhibit. I think she's like a modern day Medici.
And I've did everyone from the Reagans to Sherry Lansing to Sylvester Stallone, Henny Youngman, and of course you can't do Hollywood without Joan Quinn. And the connection she has to artists is rare, very rare. It's the passion. And I didn't realize that she had as big a collection as we see today.
We're here with Simone Gadd, collage and assemblage artist who did this wonderful portrait of Joan. Tell me all about this portrait.
Well, I went over to Joan's house and she commissioned me to do her portrait in the style that I work in. And we picked different objects, jewelry, one of her purses, a photograph of her, and then I assembled it together, painting, gluing, and sequining, sewing onto paper, onto the installation piece here, which was boxed. I met Joan when she was the West Coast editor of Andy Warhol's Interview magazine. I don't remember who introduced me, but I knew that she was in the art world, and we kind of instantly bonded and really liked each other, and she knew of my work already. So that's why she invited me over and asked me to do the piece of her.
And we are with Stephen Graham, son of Robert Graham, the artist who did these beautiful masks of our patron Joan Quinn today. First, let's talk a little bit about the masks themselves. You were a young man when your father did these. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Yes, I was. I was a teenager at the time, and Joan would come over to the studio for sittings, and it was done in maybe 2 or 3 sittings. Both Joan and Jack have been patrons of my father and dear family friends. Like I said, as long as I can remember. I mean, I think Joan and Jack are very special in their own right, and I feel very fortunate and to be a part of that, to actually have that involvement with them all my life, and it's been very fortunate. Joan, I love you. My father loves you, and hopefully he's here today.
Billy L. Bankston, who did the portrait on the back of the catalog, and he has a big piece in the show.
You know Joan.
Oh, I've known Joan.
She intimidates the hell out of you.
So what was it? Did Joan say, "Come on, Billy"?
No, she said, "No, just do it." That's how simple it is. And I says, "You don't do a portrait of Joan without Jack."
That's right.
And isn't that right?
And you put Jack's little eyeballs looking out at me.
Well, what is he usually doing?
That was perfect.
Talk a little bit about Jack and These portraits are all of Joan, but Jack plays a big role in all of this too.
Jack plays a big role in all of this. I've known Jack a long time. He's just an exceptional person, and I know he's helped so many people and so many artists, help them do their work and bring people to galleries and bring other people to the acquaintance of artists.
You knew Andy Warhol. Of course, he
did.
appointed you as West Coast editor of Interview magazine.
Andy was fantastic because he was the one who said, go out and do a TV show. Go out and get your portraits done. Do all of this with the artists. I mean, he was a person who loved the patrons, but he was always encouraging us to be around the artists because he knew that we could bring the arts to him.
It really started out with that idea having the artists represented and how they interpret one subject, not specifically about my mom, but really about how each person presents with their own eye, their own view.
I don't think it's so much a patron of the arts. I think it was something that I found the artists more interesting than anyone else that I was with or that I could be with. They had this sense of joie de vivre. They were intent on what they were doing. They weren't frivolous. It was something that to me made so much sense that life was about. And that's what I enjoyed so much.
Growing up, did they break anything?
Oh, they were great. They used to crawl over everything. They never broke a thing.